Hey everybody, so it's been about 3 weeks now since I've had my truck undercoated. It is a Southern truck that I recently acquired, and other than some sun damage to it, it's been in overall pretty good shape, no major rust or anything like that. And now that I have the truck up here in the great northern states, I decided that I need some underbody protection to make sure that frame and all the components stay in really good shape. So I went over to Rustless Rides, which is an organization owned by a good friend of mine. You're going to see a video of that install right now, and then I'll come back at the end of that video and give you some final thoughts on how that process went. I am here today because I'm getting my truck undercoated here at Rustless Rides. I'm going to be using a high viscosity oil undercoating, so let me take you inside and show you what's going to happen.
The great thing about the oil is it's non-conductive. You know, it doesn't conduct electricity, so that's why we spray the connectors with it, to keep the moisture out and keep the corrosion down. So this hopefully stops any future problems you guys may have. Start seeing the fog come out over there. So now I can tell where I'm going. There's a flat spot here on the back. That correlates with where it's pointed, so that's how I can tell exactly where I'm spraying it. It doesn't take a lot of this, and it keeps them migrate. Because you see how fast this stuff comes out. See where it's coming out there? You can see the fog coming out of the front of the door too. So it's easy to put too much. So that's why we try to be careful and not put too much, because this will drip. On the newer vehicles, where everything's coated and there's no rust starting yet, this is great. Once the rust starts, this stuff starts to get up like a sponge, which is good, because that's what actually keeps it from rusting through. Before I spray this, I'm going to show you here. This right here is just an open void. All that box right there is going that far back in there. And this is the inside of your cab, the outside of your B pillar. Actually, A, B, this will be your C pillar, and then your cab corner. So what we do is reach in here, and you see how much that fogs. We fog everything we can here, and then we get the rest of the rocker panel from here on forward from underneath, from all those holes I showed you earlier.
So does the product bond to the metal, or what does it do?
It sticks.
It sticks, okay.
It coats, where this stuff is almost like Vaseline. It coats, but it has properties of mineral oil, and the thickness is what keeps it where it sprays, is the no drip formula part of it. But it also releases some of the finer oils, which creeps and migrates down through in between all your different layers. Like this rocker panel here, the cab corner, it's got, these are two pieces, because this obviously it wasn't put together in one piece. So you got 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, 4 piece, and the 4-pan 5 piece, and then you got your inner rocker on bottom. That's 6 pieces of metal right here, and everything comes to a low overlap. So that's where the importance of the thinner oil to get in between those to protect them. That's where that part comes in. The no drip formula is what stays there and protects it and keeps anything from getting to it, especially on here and the inside here is moisture. And then we also got to make sure that the drain holes in the bottom are open for the condensate. A lot of manufacturers now are injecting closed cell foam in here to quieten the ride. It also dams up, so if this panel sweats from heating and cooling, the water and the moisture will sit on top of the foam. It can't go nowhere. And so that's the other reason why it causes it to rust, because there's almost no coating on the inside of here. But I'll use that to spray this section here. And this section here, I can get up through that inner fender, so I can spray this entire lip without taking the vehicle apart. Manufacturers of how to get where without being able to without damaging the vehicle. So you can see coming out behind the headlight right there.
Yep.
I'm gonna spray that entire seam right there. Like I said, that little flat spot right there tells me exactly where this is at, because it's real easy to lose where you're at. And this right here tells me I'm spraying towards the back. So this right here, I can come out here and fog this entire area. Both sides of the panel, on the way down and on top of that wheel lip. So we can make sure we get enough material right there on that bend so it doesn't rust out. That's one of the biggest questions that I get is how do you get in these areas to make sure you get enough? And you can see the fog coming out of the engine bay and under the hood. And
absolutely, yeah.
that's just absolutely saturating the inside of that panel. Okay, actually what I spray, again, we have access ports here to spray the inner fender a little bit better, because I try to focus mainly on this upper area of the wheel lip, because again, here in these lower areas is where they rot out. We also spray the battery terminals, which that one is, okay. You normally don't come off like that, okay? And we spray the battery terminals, because as I mentioned earlier, this is non-conductive, and this acts like the battery protector that you buy. And if they're corroded, again, I'll let people know what it needs. I typically focus on anything metal. I'll spray the inner fenders, all the grounds, because obviously the grounding issues are one of the major problems when vehicles moving forward with corrosion. Just the wires breaking down from corrosion, from the salt and different components and stuff in the engine bay, because I mean, the engine bay sees about every extreme that you can. High temperatures, moisture, steam, as you're driving through water, all those conditions, and it can wreak havoc on your electrical system. That's why most vehicles, once they get to a certain age, you start having a lot of electrical problems. Most of the time, it's ground issues. Just like this truck right here. We got one ground here, we got one ground there. We've got a ground here that's double stacked, and there's one back here on the firewall. There's multiple grounds on here. We make sure we spray all those. Also, we spray all these lower components that typically you can't get into and wipe and keep clean. So that's pretty much what we spray on the engine bay. We avoid the hoses, we avoid the belts, the exhaust. Some overspray does get on them, but we avoid the exhaust. Also spray the top of the frame rails while we're here, because it's easier to spray here than it is from underneath. On is this piece here. On most all your modern vehicles, your Jeeps, trucks, so on, this is actually part of your crush zone as far as your crash protection. There's a reason why most of these stamps are in here. These are crumple zones. So when you look at the vehicle and how it's constructed, they break this down into quadrants. So depending on how the vehicle gets in an accident, it crushes down. The structural integrity of this is important. So we also reach down in here and spray the inside of this from all the way from the core support all the way back to your firewall, which is your A-pillar. So we spray all of this on both sides as much as we can possibly get to make sure that this does not rust, does not break down over time. This also improves and increases the safety as the vehicle gets older. This is why it's important to get this product in the inside of the structures. Well, because again, the mice do not like this in any vehicle that sits for a little while.
Yeah, let's talk about this. This has an anti-rodent component to it, right?
Yeah, the mouse out is now incorporated in all New Hampshire oil products, the high viscosity oils. Obviously, for a smell-o-vision here, you could pick up the spearmint kind of pepperminty smell. It used to be a lot more pronounced, but they actually use the pheromone from cat urine. It's just a pheromone, so it's non-acidic. So between that and the peppermint, spearmint type smell, the mice don't like it, and then the oil itself they don't like. So between all three, you know, it definitely does a really good job by keeping the mice out, especially for vehicles that are sitting for long periods of time. Restored vehicles that are in garages or sheds or whatever, you know, obviously it's going to keep it from rusting, but also keeps the mice and stuff out of them. As mentioned before, I spray battery terminals. I'm actually spraying the top of the frame rails here and the top of the cab mount, and also the top of the engine mount. Brake line, ABS unit.
So right now in the back, kind of hitting it with the bigger spray gun, gets a lot more product out on the main bigger sections and panels of the vehicle, where we did kind of more of the fine-tuning stuff with the smaller adapters and the nozzles prior to that. So it's a very detailed, very intricate process to get this spray. right, so right now he's finishing up just doing some of the wheel well stuff, and we are good to go. We'll get the cloth off the top, and we'll get her on out of here. So as you can see from that video, it was a very detailed process. I was not expecting that when I went over there to kind of see what it would be like. And a big thanks to Chad for taking the time to explain to me exactly what he was doing and why he was putting the product where he put it. I was just expecting more of a basic undercoating of the frame and maybe some of the underbody with that. But he really got into all the nooks and crannies, which I'm happy about, because I want to make sure this truck stays in top-notch form for many years with it. But overall, very happy with it. Again, the overall cost I thought was very value-based for what he did and the time it took. You saw, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes of footage there of what was going on. It took several hours for him to complete the process. So again, very detailed, very happy with everything turns out. And if you are in the greater Cincinnati or Middletown or Dayton areas, I would suggest reach out to their website. They have all the prices clearly listed on there. Give them a call, talk about your specific application, and see if it might be right for you. I will go ahead and do an update on how everything has held up once we get through winter here into 2025. Take care. Talk to you soon.